Hello and welcome to OC's Java tutorial. This is episode 1 or exercise 1 or lesson 1, whatever the heck you want to call it. But this is essentially the lesson on how to write the HelloWorld application in Java. This is going to be directed towards my class. However, this is going to be used anywhere in the world if you want to. So you're more than welcome to tune in, subscribe, and watch this all you want, and I hope it helps everybody out. So today we're going to do Hello World. Now, if you've never done any kind of programming before, the first thing you need to have is a Java development environment, okay? So what we're going to use one called JCreator. If you haven't gotten it, just Google it real quick, JCreator. Download the 3.5 version. It's the LE version. That's the one we'll be using throughout all of our exercises until we get much later when we may use something else. This is probably a very simple editor, probably one of the most basic ones to use, so you can get really down to the nitty-gritty and get used to just programming on a very hardcore level. If you download and install it, what you'll see on the left-hand side or wherever your action bar is. Now, if you're using Windows, you probably don't have this action bar here. Mine's just nicely on my hotbar, so I will just go ahead and run it. It should pop up in real quick time frame because it's a real simple program. Alright, so the basic view of this program is this big gray area is where our editor is going to be. Now there's nothing there now because we don't really have anything to edit just yet. Over here we have, this will be where our files will be located. It'll tell us every file that we're currently working on. Properties will tell you stuff about when it was created, where it is, things like that. And this general output, build output, task list, this stuff will be good for when we go to debug, compile, and run our programs. Alright, so let's go ahead and just start with our Hello World. So you can do it two ways. You can either go to File, New File, or you can just similarly just hit this New File button. So that's what I'm going to do. Make sure you click on File Type first and make sure Java File is selected. You don't want any of these, at least for nothing we're going to do in the near future. I mean, if you know what these are, great. If you don't, then don't worry about it. No one cares. Alright, so Java File is selected there. We'll hit Next, and now you'll name your file. Well, we want to do Hello World, so we're going to call this the Hello World file. Now, you probably have read that you need to put .java after these files. However, JCreator does that automatically, so if I put .java in here, it's going to make a file called helloworld.java.java, and that's really aggravating. So we're just going to put Hello World. You can change the location. If you're working at my school, that you probably don't want to do much with that yet. If in fact, if you hit the triple dot here, it's going to be really annoying for you at my school. But if you're at home and want to change that, more than welcome to change it. Most people make their own little programming directory, so they have stuff all in one little area. So I'm just going to leave it there because that's what most of my students will do, and we'll hit finish. Okay, so you'll see now it shows us the Hello World as a file we're working on now. You'll see the properties in here, like when it was modified and what the file name is and where exactly to find it at. And we also have an editor now that's open. Now, there's nothing special about the editor except for there's these numbers that you'll start appearing over here. That's the line that you're working on. So, right now this is line 1, and as I hit enter, you'll see more lines. You'll also see when you start editing that your file will get a star after it. That's telling me now that I have modified the file and it's not saved. So if I hit save, there it goes away, so it's now saved. And then finally, there's also this gray button over here, this gray line over here. This gray line is a printing line only. If you were to hit print, it's just saying everything to the right of this. So, if you started typing all the way out here and got out here, it would print it, but it would print it on the next line before line 2. So that gets kind of odd looking. And we'll show you later on how you can avoid doing that problem where you can get stuff over there. There's ways to make your code so you don't have that issue. Okay, well, if we're going to first write a program, the first thing we should do is write a comment describing, who wrote this, what is this written for, and what day it was written. So there's two kinds of comments. What a comment is just telling more information about what you're doing. The code is not compiled, it's not added in at all, and in fact has no meaning. The compiler completely ignores it. It's really there for a programmer to know what's going on, to give you insight of what's going on. Because when you start dealing with a 1,000-line program later on, woo, boy, that's going to be tough for you to see what's going on. So comments help us identify portions of code and kind of make things easier to understand, especially when you get variables like X and Y, and you're like, well, X what, Y what, it's kind of important in that way. So there's usually a header comment we do. Now, one of the comments you can use is a double slash. That's called an end-of-line comment. What that means is, everything I type right now, look at it, look, it's all in this green. All right, what that green means is, it's in a comment fashion. What that means is not compiled, not going to be used, anything like that. So it essentially ignores that. That's just there for your information. So whenever you see the green, that means it's commented. Or if I hit enter and type again, you see it's not in that nice, pretty green. That's because it's not considering a comment anymore. It's thinking you're actually programming something. So essentially, this double slash means to the end of the line is a comment. Well, what if you want to do a huge comment? You want to write a paragraph or something. Then we use a slash star. Okay, and essentially, when you do a slash star, it'll assume everything's a comment until you do a star slash. All right, so slash star starts it, star slash ends it. JCreator, if you hit enter after you've done this, it'll just keep putting stars until you do a slash essentially, and then it'll know you're finally finished. But until I hit that, it'll assume everything in here is a comment. See, green, green, green. But down here on line 6, after that slash star, it's the black programming code again. So this is called a block comment. So this will let me essentially block off a whole set of commenting. Some people make nice and cute little, like, titles here. They'll, put stars all the way out. You'll see a lot of programming examples do stuff like this to make it look cute and adorable. And I do too when I have time, but I'm a meat potato guy, so I tend to not have time to do that. So that's about as much as I'll do. So now, usually what you want up here is you're going to want your author, which is me, OC in this case. You're going to want a date, so you know when this was coded. This is 7/28/11. And you're going to want a project, or you could say purpose, whichever one works for you is okay. I'm going to call this the HelloWorld project. If you're one of my students working, these will be the assignment names you'll get, like drawing circles, manipulating strings, stuff like that. So this project right now is just the HelloWorld project. All right. So now it's time to program, guys, and let's actually get to doing some program. Well, as you've probably read, that what we have to do now is we have to create and declare this as a class. A class is any file in Java that represents programming. Okay, so we have to declare that this is just a regular old class file and not just a stupid plain text file or something like that. So what we do in here, the first line of code we put in is public class. Now those are two reserved words. Reserved words cannot be used for anything else. So you cannot use the word public or class in any other way, shape, or form other than the Java intended use of those words. You can't just throw them in. You can't do Java slang or something like that. There is no use of public other than that. Okay. Now do remember Java is case sensitive, so an uppercase P would not mean the same thing. Just same thing as if you did an uppercase at the end of the class, it would not blue it and make it a reserved word. Okay, so right now it's recognizing those as reserved words and kind of codes them for you. These things really don't have colors, just to let you know. That's just what JCreator does for you. If you open this up in Notepad, there'd be no color. All right, and the name of the class is always the same name as the file that you're in. So we're going to do HelloWorld. And it has to match the same uppercasing that you have everywhere else. So if Hello World up here has capital H, capital W, then Hello World has capital H, capital W here. If you didn't do that, when we go to compile a little bit, and we'll show you some of those errors, that will be an issue, and it will flag it for you. Okay, so we'll hit enter, and now we want to tell it that we're ready to program. So what we do now is we do braces, little squiggly lines as I call them. So we did an open squiggly and a closed squiggly. And you see, as JCreator's nice, when I type that one open squiggly in, it gave you a closed squiggly to match it, because it knows you're going to need a closed squiggly automatically. Okay. The next line that we have to have, if this is going to be a main runnable Java code, has to be that main that we decided on earlier. That we got to say public static void main string square brackets in this case, square brackets, and then args. Okay, and this piece of code has to be this way in all languages. Put a P there. Sorry about that. It has to be this exact form no matter what you do. Public static void main string args. Parentheses have to match, square brackets have to be there, and it has to look exactly like that. Why? Honestly, at this point, let's not worry about that. It's a little idea we call abstraction. We don't. You shouldn't care why it works. It's just if you want a program to run, you need that there. If not, nothing will run. It's just you'll hit the run and nothing will run. So you can treat this as pulling the trigger on a drill. You have a cordless drill. You pull the trigger. You don't know why it does it and how it works and what it does inside. Who cares? It just does what it does. So same thing here. You have to have this. So just treat it as, okay, right now that's something I just need to know. Later on, we'll talk about what everything about this means. Before you leave honors computer science, you will know everything about what that line means. Okay. Now, we also want to state that the main, what we call method, has a body. So here's another set of braces, squigglies, that are going to delimit and tell us that, hey, this is a blocked main. We want to do a bunch of stuff in our main tool here. So this is our main method, our main tool that we want to do stuff with. And if all we're doing is hello world, then we just want to print up to the screen hello world. So we do that with a command called system.out.println, sometimes called print line. In fact, you'll hear me call it print line all the time. Parentheses, and then we're going to say what we want to actually type out in quotes now. So I'm going to start a quote. This quote's going to start a thing called a string literal. It's saying, literally print out what I'm putting in here. So when I type something in here, if I write, Mary had a little lamb, it's going to type out, Mary had a little lamb, literally as I type it out. So in this case, I can start using whatever words I want. I want to say public again in here. It don't care because it knows it's part of a string literal and has nothing to do with coding. So I can literally type in here whatever I want. Okay, there are some few exceptions. We're going to use these things called escape sequences later. Don't care about them right now. I would just say at this moment, stay away from using superfluous symbols and things like that because you don't want to use any slashes or anything just yet. But we will, don't worry. So I want to just type in hello world, kind of telling the computer that, hey man, I'm alive and I can work. And just like we started the string literal, and as you've seen with parentheses and braces and square brackets and comment blocks, we have to also say that's the end of my string literal. So I put another quote. So it's literally like you're talking to someone, you're saying, I'm quoting them as saying, you know, hello world. Right? And then at the end of any Java line that is a statement is something that performs an action. This didn't perform an action, merely kind of was a page number and discussion of chapter or something like that. Just declared stuff about what was going on. Same thing with this. It was just telling me what's going on here. But this is actually doing something. So then I have to put a semicolon after it. Okay. So now that's everything you need. So now we need to compile. Because in Java, after you have the raw higher order code, the high-level language code, it's time to compile it into the bytecode, Java bytecode. And bytecode's the cool thing that makes Java Java. That'll compile it into a .class file. So it'll take this .java that we're working in right now and create a .class, which is the bytecode, which someone could then be given that code to run on their machine, and any machine, because Java is supposed to be write once, run anywhere. And that's a key term there, write once, run anywhere. All right, so if we want to compile, what we want to do is we want to go up here to where it says compile file, and we could go up to build and do the same thing. Don't really care. I like using buttons personally. So I'll hit compile. And so now you'll see that our build output window has become active, and it's doing something apparently, and then now it says process completed. So what this is doing now is this is actually saying to somebody, hey, this is actually a compiled class now that'll actually do something. So it's completed, it's ready to go, and we can go ahead and run it. If you had an error, you would see it here. In fact, let's do that one thing I talked about earlier. I said that this name, except for the .java, needs to match this name. So let's make that a lowercase and see what happens when we compile. And these are errors that are caught at compile time errors. And you can see you got an error right down here and brought us to our task list. And it's saying that there's an error there. If I double click on it, it points to the line that had an issue. And it's saying class hello world is public, should be declared in a file name hello world.java. Later on, you'll get really used to these errors. I can tell you this one right now is saying that, hey, if class hello world's public, which is what we're saying, public class hello world, and it's got the lowercase w there, then it should be declared in a file named that. Well, the problem is my file name's with the capital W. Oh, well, that just means I really want that to be capital W. Okay, and we will intentionally make some errors later on, so you see what a lot of the common ones are, like semicolon causes some odd ones. But the goal of error fixing is always to fix the first one, recompile. First one, recompile. Now, if you come up with a list of 10 errors, don't do all 10. Just do the first one and recompile. So it looks good, so now we're going to execute it. Okay, and that's not, we're not going to kill it. Execute means run. So we're going to actually run this. So we'll click on the little play button. And there it is. Hello world. So it worked. And you wrote your first Java program. Okay, so something you might want to do now is play around with this. Maybe you want to type something else in there. Maybe you want to do hello Bob or hello donkey or hello 42. Of course, that's the answer. And maybe if you put another one in here, can I do another one at the same line? Hello answer. Okay. And compile again, because anytime you make a change in here, you must compile again, and then execute it again and see what happens.